What is up, everybody? We are live here breaking down UFC Vegas 22. We have Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson in what looks like a pretty decent card. We are down to 11 fights, but I do think this card is going to deliver. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes. I think, from a DraftKings standpoint, there's going to be a lot of high scores. And I like the main event, Kevin Holland, Brunson. I like the co-main event, Gregor Gillespie, Riddell. I think Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez is probably my favorite fight in the card. And there's some fights I really don't care all that much about. Cheyson, Renault, Montel Jackson should have done easy. Cheyenne Baze, decent prospect, but overall, I think the card's decent. And of course, another opportunity to make some money. I do have 7 bets we'll talk about. We'll talk a little bit of the weigh-ins. We did have some interesting things happen at the weigh-ins, but other than that, it's going to break down these fights. So what's up, everybody in the chat? How you doing? I see you guys here. We have Terry in the chat. First one, let's go. Let's go. Javier, noticed me, Brady. Noticed you there. Let's go. I agree. Let's make some money. I agree. Let's go. What's up, Big Germ? And to read some weigh-ins. Yeah, we'll talk about the weigh-ins a little bit. Nothing really crazy happened outside the Julia Avila versus Stoliarenko fight being off. And we're all buying yachts. I sure hope so. What's up, Nick? Let's get this money. I agree. Got a cold beverage ready. Let's get this money. I have a cold beverage with myself as well. It's some nice water going on. Love that countdown. Yeah, me too. I was looking at maybe adding something new for the countdown. Got to look into it, but it is a classic. On for the win. We are live. Let's get things ready. I agree. Need that DK. Yeah, DK is going to be fun this week. I mean, there's a lot of fantastic fights that are going to score well. I think some of these ceilings on some of these guys, like a Gillespie, like the Tuivasas, I think the DraftKings score is going to be huge. Anybody watching March Madness? That's all I've been doing all day was watching some March Madness. Sadly, my bracket got broken by my team, Ohio State. Ohio State lost to a 15 seed. So that's awesome. But other than that, March Madness has been fun so far. What's up, Dustin? How you doing? Roman looked a little skinny, but I do think he's going to rehydrate. I think he's going to be really big in there come fight time. I'm doing pretty good. Andy Randy, how are you doing? What's up, Canada in the house? I like it. Let's make some money. And okay, so yeah, just want to, as always, if you guys can hit the like button. We have 55 in here so far. Let's get that number up. Subscribe if you have not yet. Always very, very appreciated. One small like. I always say this, it does go a long way. It really does help out. I do want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio. Go check out Pub Sports Radio Live. We're going to be going live for the fights tomorrow, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Talking some live betting, talking some commentary, and of course, hanging out with the guys. So always a very fun time. So, yep, we're here. I have 7 bets. Might be adding one. I was kind of looking at Delizzy, and we'll talk about it, but I wanted that line to hopefully flip, but it looks like it's going to kind of stay where it is. But yeah, 7 bets. So I'm feeling pretty good about this card. I agree. Hit the like. So yeah, guys, we'll get into it. Have a decent amount to talk about today. 11 fights, but 11 pretty solid fights. And we'll start with the first one, which I do think is a banger. We have JP Baze versus Bruno Silva. And yeah, this fight's interesting. So what I do want to point out is the line. JP Baze opened up minus 280. He is currently minus 140. And then Bruno Silva opened up plus 220, and he's currently plus 120. So lots of money's coming in on the Bruno Silva side. I think it's one of the biggest movers on the card. And for a really good reason. I mean, if you get into the tape and watch JP Baze, he looks very good. He's very strong, very good wrestler, very good grappler. But after that first round, there are some extremely big red flags. The takedowns don't come as easy. Guys are able to stuff those takedowns. The striking is very labored, and he's also able to get taken down himself. And he has been finished in both of his losses, once by submission, once by knockout. And there was another fight on his record where he was on his way to losing that fight, on his way getting to ground and pound and on his way out of there. But his opponent hit him in the back of the head. And that fight was called off, and he ended up winning that fight from a disqualification. So he really should have 3 losses, in my opinion. So there are some red flags. He's still young. I do think he's going to be improving. But, Bruno Silva, he is lost his last 3 fights. I mean, 2 fights technically, but he did get submitted by Taha. But he's decent. He's training at a good camp. He has solid wrestling. He was able to take down Tagir Ulanbek his last fight 4 or 5 times, which is impressive. Did get taken down himself, but wasn't controlled all that much. And I had a bet on Tagir Ulanbek in the fight against Silva. And I was really, really sweating that decision because I really thought Bruno Silva could have done enough to win that fight. It was very, very close. So luckily he was on the right side of that. But Bruno Silva, his striking is pretty decent. He is a black belt in BJJ, has been finished 2 times, but he is the more experienced fighter. He's been fighting the better guys by a really decent margin. And kind of how I look at it. If Baze is not able to get this fight out of here in the first round, I do think he'll slow down. I do think that Silva's going to take over. So I think Silva's a very live dog, and apparently a lot of people agree with me because the line has shifted tremendously. Like I see on some books, Bruno Silva's plus 110, plus 105. So the line has came down, and for a really good reason. I do think Baze has a lot of upside. I think between the two, Baze probably has the more upside, but at this point, he's still young. I haven't seen him look all that impressive outside of the first round. Of course, he could be making some changes, but if he's not able to get him out of there in that first round, I do think Silva's very live. So I do have 2 bets on this fight. I have Bruno Silva to win straight up, plus 150. I have 1 unit on that. And then what I also did was I took the fight doesn't go to decision at plus 125. I think it's like plus 110 right now. I have 1 unit on there as well. And I'll tell you why. So JP Baze has never been to decision. He's won 100% of his fights by, inside the distance. He's been finished in both of his losses. Never seen the scorecards. And the thing with Silva is he's going to have the better gas tank in this fight. If Baze does not get that first round finish, I do think Silva can take over and get a finish himself. We've kind of seen Baze quit a little bit after the fight gets out of that first round. And I do think Silva can, really push the pace and in those later rounds and eventually find that finish, or Baze does get that first round finish. So I think either way, I think, both sides are kind of likely to end inside the distance here. And at plus money, I'm definitely willing to take the shot. But ultimately, I do like that plus 150 I got on Bruno Silva. I think he's extremely live if he's able to survive that early storm of JP Baze. But overall, from a DraftKings standpoint, I think this is going to be a really good fight to target. If Baze wins, it's probably early. It's probably in the first round. It's probably due to him having a lot of wrestling, grappling, which does add up. And if Bruno Silva wins, I do think he's live for a late finish as well. I think this is a fight that first fight of the night, I do think it has potential to score very high. So a fight I'm really looking forward to with 2 bets on it to start the night. Pretty well. This time you had lots of KOs for predictions. Yeah, I haven't been predicting a lot of KOs, but I see quite a bit this week, honestly. So hopefully I do think it's going to be a fun fight. Bruno does grind hard. I think, first of all, Baze is getting that Contender Series bump. It opened up minus 280, which is crazy. If anybody got on that, like the plus 200 on Silva, congrats to you. I got in on it a little bit later than I wanted, but still, plus 150 is not awful. Bruno is a wounded animal fighting for his life. Yes, he is. I mean, if he loses this one, the dude's fighting for his job, so you're right. Seems like a difficult, tricky card. I mean, there's a lot of big favorites. I don't really see many underdogs that have potential here. Lots of really inflated lines. I think this card's kind of like straightforward, honestly. He does crack. Took Silva by KO decision, plus 150, not bad. There's 3 or 4 close fights. Yeah, there's a couple close fights. Also took JP Baze, I think you mean 1-2, plus 320, just in case. Yeah, if Baze wins, I think it's going to be early in the first or second round. Jesse Schrader is the boxing coach for Aaron Carter for his fight versus Lamar Odom. Yeah, I heard about that. That's awesome. We'll talk about Jesse Schrader really soon. All right, so we'll get into the next fight here. And, it's interesting. So we have Montel Jackson, who's going to be the biggest favorite on the card, and he's sitting at minus 645. I saw on some books he's minus 800. On some books he's not minus 900. I saw on a book he's like minus 1250. So biggest favorite on the card, and for an absolute good reason. He's the better fighter in this fight by a very decent margin. I think he has Jesse Schrader beat pretty much everywhere. Just going back and watching the tape on Schrader, he's somebody that's fighting some low-level competition. He has some decent fights on his record. I believe he fought Rojo and got knocked out in, I think, the first or second round. But, Schrader comes after it. He looks for the early finish. But I saw him get cracked by some very questionable competition, get really hurt by these guys on the regional scene. And I kind of thought maybe Schrader could implement the same game plan as like a Ricky Simone, where he comes in here to take down Jackson, because he does have a good takedown game. But when Schrader does take guys down, decent wrestling, but he doesn't really go after the control time. He doesn't really stay with his opponents, get into the opponent's guard. He kind of just stands up and lets them up. So I think that's off the table. I think if anything, Jackson could probably get takedowns here. And I just think Jackson's going to win. It's just whether does he win by knockout or submission. I don't know. I think either is likely. I think if he does stand with Schrader, he can knock him out. He's going to have like a 6 or 7 inch reach advantage, or even take down Schrader and probably submit him, honestly. So give me Jackson. I think Schrader, is exciting. I just don't think he's UFC level, and they're giving Jackson this fight for him to absolutely dominate, get a highlight real knockout or a decent submission on his record here. So I do like Jackson. I like him in DraftKings, 9,400. I think he wins. I have him in cash. I have him in a lot of tournaments as well. I think there's finish upside. What I was looking at was the under 2.5 in this fight, because if Schrader wins, it's going to be early. And if Schrader loses, it's probably going to be because he got knocked out or submitted. So I like the under minus 190, but ultimately I do have Montel Jackson in a parlay. And I'll talk about the other parlay leg in a little bit, but he is the first leg of the parlay. I got him at minus 500 in that parlay. He's currently minus 650, but people are going to argue the line's off. I really don't think it's off. I think it could be like minus 1,000. Schrader, everybody's live for a knockout. Everybody has a puncher's chance, but Montel Jackson's levels and levels above Jesse Schrader here. And if you're going to bet Jesse Schrader, you bet him by knockout plus 1345. And that's probably how I do it. If I was to take a shot on Schrader at all, he's not going to win a decision. He's not going to win by submission. So I'd say Schrader by knockout if you are going to take a shot. And I mean, that's how he's going to win more than likely. I wouldn't do it myself, but I think taking a shot on Schrader by KO is more likely than, the Megan Anderson by KO sprinkle that people were doing a couple weeks ago. But I do like Jackson here. I think he does win. I'd be kind of surprised if he did lose this fight, but I do have Jackson in a parlay. Jesse by TKO is plus 1,200. Yep. If he wins, it's probably by KO, so that is probably the line you're going to want to take. Schrader does not even have a puncher. I wouldn't go that far. The dude's dangerous. He's exciting. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, dude. I do think he wins. Montel Jackson just got a big L against Brett Johns, which is not a terrible loss to have. Brett Johns would destroy Jesse Schrader pretty bad. Jackson can take him down plus 10 plus times. I agree. I think he can for sure. Schrader gets hit a lot. Yes, he does. Doesn't seem to be able to do much on the ground. Exactly. Also think Jackson wins this one. No decision fight. Yeah, I'm with you. Jackson inside the distance minus 175. Not awful. Montel round 1 or round 2. I'd prefer round 1. I think round 1, but it could get extended. What's up, Carlo? How you doing? I want Schrader to fight someone else after Jackson beats him. I hope we get him at good odds next time. I do like the hands, just not versus Montel. Yeah, I'm with you. I do think he's exciting. I just don't think he's ready yet. I think he has some, he's young, only has like 6 fights, but he is an exciting fighter. Montel by sub plus 400 and plus 300 for KO, not bad. I agree. Schrader, small cage. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Schrader wins big. You hear that? Yeah, I mean, I hope not, personally, because I have a bet on Montel Jackson, but would I be completely shocked if Schrader knocked him out? Probably, but everybody has a puncher's chance. Megan Anderson had a puncher's chance against Nunez, but I do think Jackson wins it. All right, next we'll get into Roman Delizzy versus Trevin Giles, and this fight is very interesting. We have Roman Delizzy, who opened up as a minus 190, and he's currently, or opened up minus 155. He's currently minus 110. Trevin Giles opened up plus 125, currently plus 100. So Trevin Giles, a very popular underdog this week, and I don't really understand it because everybody was going against Trevin Giles in his last fight against Bevon Lewis, which is kind of crazy to think about. But Trevin Giles was able to go out there, knock out Bevon Lewis in the 3rd round. I was on Trevin Giles. I did not pull the trigger on him because I did not want anything to do with him because this guy, the fight IQ is not there. I really question where he's at mentally. He's a part-time cop. I kind of thought that he was kind of taking his other career a little bit more serious than MMA. But he went in there and got a nice win against Bevon Lewis in his last fight. But really, how impressive is that, a win against Bevon Lewis? You have Roman Delizzy coming in here, 8-0 or 9-0. Just went to his first decision in his last fight against John Alon, which was a split decision. I think people might be looking at that and seeing like, oh, no, he went to a split decision with John Alon. That's awful. But if you will go back and watch that fight, he clearly won the fight. I don't think you can even make an argument for John Alon winning 2 out of those 3 rounds. I think Delizzy won pretty clearly there. So don't know what that judge was looking at, but judges will be judges in the UFC. But as far as Delizzy goes, he has a lot of power coming down from 205 to 185. I wanted to see the weigh-ins. He looked good. He did look a little skinnier. He didn't look as big as usual, but of course he dropped 20 pounds. So I do think he's going to fill out, rehydrate. I think he's going to be huge come fight time. I do think it's going to be an advantage. And I do like him in this matchup. I think he's very good on the mat. I think he showed some really solid wrestling against John Alon. Was able to get him down a couple times in the last fight. And we've seen Giles taken down by guys like Gerald Mearshart, who has no wrestling. We saw him taken down by James Krause on a day's notice, and James Krause was able to ride out that first round, almost submit Trevin Giles in that fight. And the dude's been submitted twice. He's been submitted in both of his losses. I think a Delizzy submission's really on the table here. If he does choose to take down Trevin Giles, I do think he's very live for that sub. And even on the feet, I don't know. I guess I favor Giles because I think he's going to have more volume. But then again, Delizzy showed some pretty good volume in his John Alon fight. But typically going back, Delizzy does show some very low volume. So Path to victory, I'd say, for Delizzy is getting this down to the mat, probably finding that submission. Giles' gas tank is very suspect. We've seen him slow down more times than not as the fight goes along. Delizzy, I don't know how his gas tank is going to look like at 185 here, so that's kind of a question mark. But really, I like Delizzy. I just don't know if I want to bet this fight. If it gets the plus money, if I see Delizzy at plus 100, plus 105, I'll probably pull the trigger there. But for right now, this is kind of a fight I want to stay away from. I mean, we saw how bad Delizzy's fight IQ was in his last fight, and even some of his fights, he's in there messing around a little bit too much, yelling at his opponents, talking to the coaches. I just don't like seeing stuff like that. Going for heel hooks. I mean, that's just not something you want to see at this level. So it's kind of hard to pull the trigger on the guy, but I think this is a very winnable matchup against somebody that has even worse IQ in Trevin Giles. I mean, Trevin Giles is somebody that went out there against Gerald Meerschaert. All he had to do is keep it standing. He hurt Meerschaert with the very first punch he threw, and then what does he do? He takes down Meerschaert a couple times. He gets taken down by Meerschaert. Ultimately gets reversed and then gets submitted in that third round. And I think Delizzy can kind of do the same here. Just get the fight down to the mat and submit him. So I was looking at the under 2.5, or the fight doesn't get the decision, minus 165. That's not bad. I think the under is like minus 135. That's not awful. So I might be looking at that, but have not pulled the trigger on anything as of yet. As far as DraftKings goes, I really like Delizzy at 8,200, but I will sprinkle in a little bit of Giles as well, just in case he does pull off a victory. But I'm really high on Delizzy here. A lot of people are kind of sleeping on him. I don't know what it is. A lot of people want to fade this guy, but I think he has a pretty solid skill set. I'm really curious to see what he looks like at 185 pounds. But ultimately, it should be a very fun fight. All right, let's see what we got in the chat here. Someone give me 2 Lux. I really like Tuivasa Hunsucker fight doesn't go to decision, and I'll say Montel Jackson. I'm big on Roman. Hope he doesn't disappoint and stop playing around when fighting. Yeah, if he comes in here, he's serious about it, does not go for heel hooks, I think this is a very, very winnable fight for him. Roman all day. Roman TKO, he's a savage and way bigger at 185. Yeah, if you saw the weigh-ins, he was pretty bigger, a lot bigger than Trevin Giles. And I think by fight time after he gets some fluids in him, he's going to be huge. Delizzy finally has a chance for submission, missing it last time. Trevin is a good fighter, but Delizzy can both KO. Yep, he has a lot of power, or sub him, most likely sub. I'm with you there. People are reading a lot into the Giles beating Lewis, but that jab and hand speed is scary. Yeah, and really, just it's so easy to beat Bevon Lewis. All I have to do is throw a little bit more volume than him, but he was able to knock him out, which was nice. Sub prop hits nicely here. Let's see. Delizzy by submission plus 395. That's interesting. That's very interesting because Giles has been submitted 2 times. Giles does have a kind of a questionable chin, but I do think he's tough. So, yeah, I think the sub at plus 400 nearly is not a bad look. Giles' ground game is terrible. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but he does make a lot of mistakes. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you there. People are worried about Delizzy's weight cut, and man, he looked good on the skills. Roman flat sprinkle, Roman sub. I like it. See here. 5-unit parlay. Got the max bet going on. Roman in Holland. I wouldn't max or nothing, but I do think that hits personally. Just not overly crazy about it. Roman was really slow on the feet against Allen. First round or bust, in my opinion. I wouldn't say first round or bust. I mean, he was looking good. I was curious to see what he looked like in that third round against the Law, and he was still going out there getting takedowns. So, but again, that weight cut could affect his cardio. This is my biggest question mark on the card. Delizzy is on a different level than Giles 100%. And again, like Giles, part-time cop, how much is he taking this fighting serious? You know what I mean? And yet the Georgians have been on fire. Georgian Nation will strike again. Delizzy, 100%. I like it. Roman round 2. Krause hit 155 or out-wrestled on short. Yeah, exactly. And Gerald Meerschaert was taking this guy down. So, yeah, I like Delizzy. It's just kind of weird seeing all this money coming in on Giles. I get that people might want to fade Delizzy, but with Giles, though, I don't really get that, but we'll see. Roman going to be on top mount and going to switch for a heel. Yes, exactly. That's why it's kind of hard to bet this guy, because you're exactly right. He's going to be the mount, and then he's going to transition to a heel hook, into a toe hold. It's going to be crazy, but hopefully he fights smart. I would say Bevon is better than the 2 dudes. You're 100% right that Roman was beating the UFC. You're 100% right there. 2 very concerning outcomes in the all-on fight. Delizzy slowed down a ton after round 1 and round 2, and his ground game is not that good. Wow, sleeping on the ground game of Delizzy. I mean, I think the ground game is better than Giles, honestly. But he did slow down a little bit. Yeah, and you're right. Giles did not make the walk against Kevin Holland. Still have nightmares about that because I was really high on Holland in that spot. All right, so we'll get into the next fight. That fight is something I'm really looking forward to seeing. A lot of people really split on it, but I really do think Delizzy is the better fighter. But yeah, some question marks with him and some question marks with the fight overall. All right, so this fight is something I'm really looking forward to as well. Grant Dawson versus Leonardo Santos, and I was really struggling on picking a winner in this fight. I mean, it's a tough fight to call, but Santos is 41 years old. He's going to be 14 or 13 years older than Grant Dawson here, and I was so close to picking Santos, but once I started thinking about it, I mean, Dawson's going to have the cardio advantage by a decent margin. He's going to have the volume advantage by a decent margin, and he's going to be younger by a decent margin. So I got to go Dawson here. I do think Dawson wins the decision, but I do have some question marks about whether Dawson tries to get this down to the mat, because if you guys don't know, like Santos is a legit, I think he's like a third-degree black belt, 7-time world champion in BJJ. I mean, the dude's legit on the mat. And I'm curious to see if he wants to take down Santos, and I lean towards he does. But Derek Minner almost submitted Dawson. Like Minner got him in a very deep choke. So I don't know. And with that said, I'm not sure if Dawson's able to get down Santos that easily, because Santos has an 88% takedown defense. We saw him stuff 10 out of 11 takedowns in his last fight against a really good wrestler in Bogatov. So I'm not sure if this fight does touch the mat. If it does, I'm curious to see how Dawson looks on top. But what I kind of think is going to happen is I think Dawson just going to out-volume Santos on the feet, just throw more, kind of grind on him, hold him against the cage, get him tired, get the fight extended, and ultimately probably win a decision. So that's why I'm going with Dawson, but I really hate the price. Minus 190. I think Santos is very live. I don't see Santos winning a decision. I think he could possibly sub him, but it had to be off his back, so it's possible. But I think if Santos is going to win, I actually think it could be by KO. And I know a lot of people aren't looking into it like this, but Dawson has been knocked out in his only loss. It was by elbows, but he was knocked out nonetheless. And his striking defense is pretty bad. And striking overall is not that great. I know it's improving, but he has a 50% striking defense. He's extremely hittable. He's extremely tough, but extremely hittable nonetheless. And Santos, I know he's a really good black belt and all, a really good grappler, but this guy can absolutely crack. We saw in his last fight against Bogatov, hurt him very bad. I don't know how Bogatov survived that second round. The fight before that, I think it was Stevie Ray. He was able to knock him out. This guy packs some serious power. So I think if Santos wins, maybe it's by KO. And so this is why I took a small stab here on a prop I liked. I took plus 700. Leonardo Santos wins by TKO KO, 0.25 units on, just a small sprinkle, because I think that's his path to victory. I think this probably does stay standing. Whether Dawson does not want to go to the mat with somebody as credentialed as Santos, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. And I think Santos can even stuff a lot of these takedowns as well. And we got to remember that Dawson's coming up a weight class, which I do think that's kind of interesting to note here, coming up from 145 to 155. So I'm curious to see how he looks and how strong he looks at this weight class. And Santos does have good takedown defense, like I said. So I think the KO's live. I think the most likely outcome is that Dawson decision, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if Santos is able to hurt him bad and get him out of there. So the pick's going to be Dawson by decision, but I did take a really small sprinkle on Santos by KO, plus 700. I think that line's pretty off. The KO prop right now is sitting at plus 600. I don't hate that, but ultimately I do have a small sprinkle on that. And I was really close on betting Santos as well. It's just the age, the low output, and I think if he does win, it's probably by KO. So I just took a small sprinkle on that. But should be a fun fight. As far as DraftKings goes, I kind of like both sides. If Santos wins, it's going to be inside the distance. I don't see him winning a decision. I think the decision's really off the table, honestly. And if Dawson wins, it means he's getting a lot of control time against the cage. Maybe he does take him down. I don't necessarily see him finishing Santos, but maybe he does finish him late in the fight after Santos does gas out. But overall, it should be a very, very fun fight that I'm really looking forward to. Is way too cocky. Yes, he is. Giles got a full camp behind him. That's the only reason I could see for backing him over Roman. Yeah, Roman is coming in on, I think, 10 or 11 days short notice, which, yeah, something else to think about too. Wasn't Giles the one that fainted before? Yes, he was. Those are my exact predictions. Nice. Hopefully they come true. Yeah, I'm with you. Don't sleep on Leonardo Santos. Like, this is a really winnable fight for him. And I was really close to picking him. I just can't back a dude who had to move up against a stud like Santos. Yeah, the move up is interesting. I'm curious to see how he looks at this weight class. I like Dawson too, but I'm picking about him. Against him. Got you there. Dawson is so grindy. Good luck. He sucks the cardio right out of guys. Santos was getting tired in his last fight versus much lower level competition. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it as well. I think Dawson's going to grind him out a little bit, but then again, I wouldn't be completely shocked if he did get caught with something. Santos, the streak continues. Yeah, the dude has not lost, I want to say, since like 2009, which is crazy. Undefeated in the UFC. This guy's a winner, but he is 41 years old. The cardio's not there. The output's not there. The red flags are there, but he is a winner nonetheless. Let's see here. I see Dawson getting a Gregor versus lead. Ooh. Could happen. The size difference going to be very suspect. Santos did beat Thiago Santos back in the day. You can handle some big, powerful boys. That is very, very true. Giles was so scared of Holland, he fainted. It could have been. And again, I was very upset because I was really high on Holland that night, which sucked. But yeah, so should be a really fun fight. I lean with Dawson, but I'd beware, especially at the minus 190. I would probably look at the props. I think Dawson by decision is not bad. But ultimately, I did take a little sprinkle on the Santos by KO. I think it's a lot more likely than the indicated plus 700. I see a big upset happening on the prelims. As long as that big upset is not Jesse Schrader, I'm fine with that for sure. All right, so we'll get into the next fight. 173 in here. If you guys can all hit the like button, would very, very appreciate that. And then next week, we have UFC 260. And what a card that is. Ngannou versus Stipe, Ortega versus Volkanovski. I'm going to start getting to that soon. And already started getting into it a little bit. Got into the Woodley and Luque fight already. Was able to tape that. And I do have a play on that fight as well that we'll talk about. But yeah, really looking forward to UFC 260. It's going to be a crazy, crazy card. I like Dawson round 3 here, plus 2,000. Yeah, I think if he does win inside the distance, it is going to be later in the fight once Santos does gas that a little bit. All right, next we have the biggest pass on the card, Macy Cheyson versus Marion Renault. Cheyson, she is minus 210, opened up minus 240. So some money's coming in on Renault. Renault opened up plus 180, currently plus 190. Yeah, I like Cheyson in this fight. I guess I really don't like the line at all. I guess for me, it's, she's going to be the younger fighter. Marion Renault, 43 years old. She's going to be the stronger fighter as well. She's going to be able to push Renault up against the cage. We saw in Renault's last fight, she doesn't look all that great, and she hasn't looked great in a while here. And she was able to, Pennington was able to hold her against the cage for a good amount of time. She didn't really have nothing to offer, and Renault's wrestling's not all that there. She was able to, get Pennington on the mat. She really struggled with that. And Cheyson, her takedown defense isn't, the best in the world, but sitting at what is like 70%, which is not awful. But I just really struggle seeing Renault get this fight down to the mat. If she does, she's probably very live to win and probably really live to get a submission. We saw Lena Landsberg take down Cheyson, control her for that full second round, and also take her down in the third. So if Renault is able to get this fight down to the mat, I do think she's very live. But it's just not something I really am going to bank on here. I think Cheyson keeps it standing, kind of grinds and holds Renault up against the cage. I think this fight's going to be pretty boring. I see some people taking a shot on the dog. I don't hate it, I guess. If anything, for me, it would be dog or pass. I'm definitely not paying the minus 210 for Cheyson, but I'm not going to be betting on a 43-year-old fighter personally. As far as Draftkings goes, I really don't want much to do with Cheyson at 8,700. I like a lot of plays around her a lot more. If anything, I'll probably go the Renault side, 7,500. I think if she does win, it could be by finish. She has a decent finisher, 89% finish rate for Renault. It's just really hard to be confident in someone who is on a 3-fight winning streak, hasn't won in a good almost 3 years. It's just hard to be confident in Renault there. So I'm going to take the younger fighter in Cheyson to kind of grind out a decision win, just not overly confident in it. If you're on the Cheyson side, plus 100 is not a bad way to look. Renault's never been knocked out, never been submitted, very durable fighter. So that's kind of how I look at it, but just not something I'd bet on ever, really. I want to stay away from this fight, stay far, far away from this fight. But yeah, it should be interesting. I'm curious to see how Macy Cheyson looks. We haven't seen her in a while. It should be fun. 100 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Yeah, what a day of weigh-ins. I agree. Some crazy stuff happened. Luque smash. I agree. I really like Marion here against Cheyson. Yeah, I know you're on Marion. I mean, I don't hate it. I'd rather, if I was to bet on one side, it probably would be the Marion side. Just not something I'd do personally. Luque Woodley under. I don't know if that line's opened up yet. See, I love Renault, but she had COVID. Yeah, so their fight was canceled a couple of weeks ago. Was it her that had COVID? If it was. Could be something to think about. Renault looked bad on the scales and sat down to take off the clothes. Interesting. To get on the scales, and then it needed the curtain. Yes, she did. What's up, Brady? Good luck tomorrow. Good luck to you as well, SKD. How did Delizzy look today on the scales? I thought he looked pretty good. Just looked a lot smaller than usual, but I mean, he's coming down from 205. She looked fine. I'm taking Cheyson here, but did you think Casey was robbed her last fight? Terrible judging. I was on. Yeah, that sucks. I really did think that Casey won that fight, and I was somebody that picked Aldridge. I thought Casey really had that in the bag, honestly. So yeah, kind of a questionable decision there. And the same thing with the Cop fight. I thought Cop won that fight, which I was happy about it because I had a bet on Nicolau, but I really did think Cop won. Renault round 3 prop. Yeah, plus 1,800 is pretty juicy other than that pass. Yeah, not a bad line there. A lot of her wins are late in the fight. Luque is about to retire. I hope so. I hope he does. I have a bet on Luque. Renault's going to pull Alexis Davis and Fry. It could happen. Hello, DX. How you doing? I like Renault. Macy blocks punches with her face. Yes, she does. And look at the level of competition between them. Like, come on. Yes, very true. What's up, Jay? I just subscribed. Thank you for that. Fading the 43-year-old, not ever a bad idea. She's about to turn 44 as well, I believe, in like a couple months. If you had to sit down before you get on the scale, it's a bad weight cut. Could be. Let's see here. Gabe Green also had COVID. Yeah, I don't really think the COVID, I don't take it into consideration at all, really. I think that, it doesn't really matter if a fighter has COVID or not. It affects fighters all differently. Got to kind of look out for the interviews. Like some fighters do get affected bad by it. Let's see here. Delizzy looked awesome. Yeah, I thought it looked good. Why is Delizzy moving down? I mean, he was talking about, fighting at 205. That's kind of where he walks around at, I think. And then he said he does want to try to cut down, and he saw an opportunity to take this fight on short notice, and he took it, and he looked good. Let's see here. Any tips for someone who's ready to start podcasting analysis and predictions for the UFC? I mean, I'd say be consistent with it. Consistency is key, and really try to get the word out there. I know it's hard to start up at first, but once you get going, it kind of gets easier and easier to grow. Appreciate that, Han or Han. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Appreciate that. Definitely not betting this fight. There's better spots. There's a million better spots on this card. So we just hit the 200 mark. Thank you guys for that, and we'll get into the next fight. All right, next we have a fight I really don't want to get all that much into. We have Cheyenne Baze versus Montserrat Ruiz. This line is probably off him. Minus 330. I'm picking Baze here to win the fight. I just don't feel comfortable with the line minus 330. I'm probably even going to leave it out of my Hail Mary parlay. I think this fight could be play out close. I mean, this fight's probably going decision. Baze has 1 finish on her record in 6 fights, and it could play out close. And we've seen the judging be a little bit sketchy. So if Ruiz is able to make this somewhat close, maybe she steals a decision. So if anything on this fight that I was to bet, I think fight goes to decision at minus 200 or something. Yeah, I think it's like minus 200. That's not the worst way to look, actually. That's not a bad line. Minus 200 fight goes to decision unless Ruiz can pull off some type of finish. But I do think Baze probably does win by a decision here. But Ruiz by decision plus 480 is interesting as well. But yeah, I'm staying away from this fight as well. The pick's going to be Baze. No DraftKings for Baze for me because I do like a lot more fighters around her like Gillespie, Tuivasa, Jackson. And with those 3 fighters up there, just really no point in playing Cheyenne Baze. But I'll pick her to win, I guess. It's just not something I'm overly excited about, the minus 330. If anything, on DraftKings, I think Ruiz is not the worst option in the world. I think she has decent volume. I think she can make it a little bit competitive. So I'll have some Ruiz, but just not overly excited about that as well. So picking Baze. But yeah, a fight I'm not overly looking forward to. I mean, Baze is a decent prospect, so it should be fun. But not the best fight on the card, in my opinion. All right, let's see what we got here. No problem, Jay. Wish you the best of luck. That is simple. Go look at the ratio of fighters win-loss post-COVID. Yeah, is there a stat for that? That'd be interesting to look at. Female Baze, male Baze. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Baze is twice her size. Yeah, I noticed that. Baze looked very, very big at weigh-ins. Yeah, she is bigger. Fight of the hotties. How can anyone back either with confidence? Both newcomers, so low level. Yeah, it's very low level. Baze making her UFC debut. I mean, you can't really be confident, or at least minus 330 confident. Yeah, Ruiz had those bunny ears. Ruiz looked kind of cute in her underwear at the weigh-ins. Ruiz looks soft. Yeah, everybody's liking Ruiz here. I mean, at least from a looking standpoint. Baze pretty. Yeah, she is very high volume as well. See here. Yanez, KO TKO, Holland moneyline, Tuivasa KO over 1.5 Max Griffin versus Song. I recommend this parlay. Yeah, I actually don't hate it. I think Baze gets the finish. Ruiz is just too cute. Good analysis there, Greg. I like it. She's just not a finisher. I got Ty, Tuivasa, Gregor, and Holland in a parlay. I have Holland on 8 units of parlays. I'm going to be sick if he loses. Yeah. Good luck to you there. Hopefully Holland gets it done for you. Baze will tap like a chicken. You think Ruiz could submit her? Ruiz by submission is plus 1175. I mean, maybe. Why is her name said Baze when it's pronounced Baze? South African pronunciation. All right, so yeah, I don't really want to get into that fight too much, but I do lean with Baze. I just don't like the line at all. So yeah, 8 units on Holland. That's a lot. That's a lot. Good luck to you. Hopefully he gets it done. So we'll get into the next fight here. We have Max Griffin versus Song Kanan, and I do have a bet on this fight. Finally, have a bet. We have Max Griffin. I got him at minus 177 currently. He is, what is he now? He is minus 210 currently. So some money coming in on him, and I do have 2 units on it. I like Max Griffin here. I think he has the potential to look minus 300, minus 400 here if he implements the right game plan, and that game plan is going out there and getting takedowns. What Song can't do is defend takedowns, sitting at 45%. He can be taken down easily, and Griffin has some really solid wrestling. He doesn't use it as much as I'd like, but he does average nearly 2 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 53% takedown accuracy. I think he'll have no problem taking down Song. And even if it does stay standing, I honestly still favor the Max Griffin side with the volume. He's going to have like a decent 4.5-inch reach advantage, which I think is huge, but the easiest path to victory and how to make it look easy is going to be taking down Song, because what is Song's path to victory? That's getting a knockout. But, Griffin's very tough. He's been knocked out once in a good 24 fights. The durability's there, the chin's there. Yes, he does get hurt a lot, but he's really good at not getting finished, which is I like to see. So if Song wins, it's going to be by KO. If you're on the Song side, I'd recommend probably just playing that KO. He's not going to get a decision, more than likely. He's obviously not going to get a submission. I think the one path to victory for Song is that KO, and it's sitting at plus 420. Yeah, but ultimately, I like Max Griffin here. I think he has a clear path to victory of getting takedowns, going for them consistently, getting control time. I think one takedown could lead to a couple minutes of control time. We've seen Song stuck off his back more than once, and he's getting taken down by kind of lower level competition as well. And I think Max Griffin has fought the much better level of competition by a decent margin. So I like Max Griffin here. I know it's always scary to play Max Griffin as a favorite, but this is just such a winnable fight for him that I did have to take a shot at Max Griffin at minus 177. I don't hate that line, and I do think he gets it done. Probably by decision. Yeah, probably by decision. Max Griffin by decision plus 110 is actually not awful. The dude's not really a finisher, but Song has been knocked out twice. As far as DraftKings goes, I will have both sides here. I think Griffin, with the new DraftKings scoring system, can score some decent points with the takedowns, control time. That's definitely going to add up. And if Song wins, it's going to be by a knockout. So I will have some Song on DraftKings, but ultimately really like the Max Griffin side this week at 8,500. It's just, he's got to know. We know it. I'm sure his coaches know it. Go for takedowns in this fight. Do you want to look minus 400 or do you want to make this fight look close? So go for takedowns, clear path to victory. I do think Max Griffin hopefully wins pretty comfortably here. You think Song whoops Max? I hope not. I have a bet on Max here. The card isn't bad. I agree the card is not bad. That Darren Stewart win didn't age well. Yeah. And that was a kind of close fight as well. Let's see here. That man can knock you out of his back. Talking about Holland, yes, he can. Talking about that Souza knockout, yeah. Song needs a better gym for a ground game. Max takes him down. I hope so. Griffin will win. How? Takedown, ground and pound, and if he gets back up, tear his ear off. I like it. Baze and Silva to go the distance. Delizzy, Tuivasa, Yanez, Lopez under 2.5. Holland parlay. Probably some good odds there. Griffin is not really a finisher, but this fight might not go to decision. Griffin looks confident and ready to go. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Griffin finish. I wouldn't mind that because we'll have some decent amount of Griffin on Draftkings, and of course, I do have a Griffin as a play. Song is a trap. He's an underdog, and everyone is on him. I don't really see many people on Song, actually. Are there people on Song? I mean, it's just hard to pick him. I mean, yes, he could knock out Griffin, but then again, how many times has Griffin been knocked out? So the path to victory, you got to pick Griffin here. Yeah, the fight IQ is a little bit scary, but he should. Max by decision, he generally goes to the scorecards despite his recent finish. Yeah, I'd lean towards decision there. Song looked smaller than what we saw him in his last fight. Griffin looked lean. We might see Griffin come out fast. I like it. Collectively, Song's wins have come across garbage competition. Yeah, not the best wins in the UFC. Griffin just has to watch out for the KO. Yeah, I mean, could Song knock him out? Yes, he could. But I think the most likely scenario is Griffin getting it done. Exactly. Griffin decision machine. Dog or pass. If anything, it's probably, bet the Song knockout. I mean, I think that's how he wins. Griffin by finish is what? Griffin by finish is plus 335. But he's a decision guy. I was on Song until now. Song by KO. No bet, but on Song. 64% of Tapology is on Song. Yes, Tapology is crazy sometimes. You see some weird percentages on there. Those Chinese fighters have chins. Yeah, I don't necessarily see Griffin knocking them out. I got the dog. Mike Perry didn't knock out Max. Song gets beat up in training by Mike. I like it. Yeah, so, yeah, like I said, even if Max Griffin comes out here with a really questionable game plan of standing with Song, I think his chin will hold up. I think he'll outpoint him on the feet, use that reach, use that volume. Song's very low volume, but, outside of getting knocked out, Max to really win this fight, so I'll take him as a bet. So we'll get to the next fight here. We have Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez, and this could be the best fight on the card. Yanez has looked very impressive, lots of hype on this guy, and that kind of scares me. I mean, he looked really good in his UFC debut against, questionable competition, looked really good on the Contender Series against some questionable competition. Lopez has, fought the better level of competition by a very decent margin. But I don't know. I feel like this fight could be a little bit closer than the line indicates, and ultimately, I do think Yanez is able to knock out Lopez at some point. I think Lopez can make this kind of a close fight with his takedowns. I've seen Yanez taken down a decent amount of times, although he does have a very good get-up game, but Lopez does have a very good ground game himself. I don't know. I don't love the minus 220. I think the most likely scenario is a Yanez knockout, which is plus 115, but just not something I want to, touch personally. I think this line's a little bit off, especially on DraftKings. Lopez 7,400. I think that's a pretty decent dog. He's going to bring the fight. He has been finished 2 times though, which is kind of sketchy. I've seen him dropped quite a bit as well. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards the Yanez KO, but I don't know. Ultimately, I want to sit back and watch this fight. No bet for me. I was kind of looking at the under, but at this point, it's like minus 160. So I'm going to take Yanez to win by knockout. But if Lopez can kind of grind this out, get this fight extended, get takedowns, use that ground game, I feel like it could be close. But I got to go with Yanez here. I do think he wins. I just don't love the price. But I don't know. Maybe he could look minus 220 if he gets a first round knockout. But I do want this fight on DraftKings. Going to have both sides here with a little bit of a lean on Yanez. But I think Gustavo Lopez, $1,400 savings on DraftKings, not an awful way to look. I think this fight's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if this fight was fight of the night. So ready to watch it for sure. All right. We have, let's see here. Lopez is the dog of the night. He could be. I mean, listening to his interviews, like he's extremely confident, probably a little more confident than he should be. But I think this fight's going to be so much fun. So much fun. 9 more likes and we hit 100. Let's get it. Let's get that 100 mark. I don't know. I mean, Yanez has never been knocked out, never been submitted. Gustavo Lopez has been knocked out twice. I think it's kind of safe. I just don't really like the line, really. What's the fight doesn't get to decision is minus 215. I don't really like the line there, honestly. Yeah, Yanez has great boxing. Yeah, his boxing is fantastic. What's up, Shady Brady? What's up, Mills? How you doing? Gustavo Lopez is not one to be overlooked. Baby Masvidal got split decision problems like Big Masvidal. Yeah, he could. If he does not get knocked out, Gustavo Lopez could make this very close. Gustavo won't be knocked out. I mean, he's been knocked out twice. Yanez Lopez is going to be a great fight. Yeah, it's definitely my pick for fight of the night. Yanez told me in the interview, second round KO if he lasts. I like it. Lopez sub. Favorite underdog for salary relief, Ruiz, Lopez, or Song? Goodness. If I had to pick one, I'd say Lopez, but I think I'll have all three of them. Lopez sub round 2. I think there's value on the under. These guys think they're going to run through each other. Yeah, I think this fight has potential to end inside the distance. Sorry I'm late. I missed anything. Any fights off? Yes, the Julie Avila fights off. Other than that, everything looked good at weigh-ins. Let's see here. What's up, Lucas? Hey, Brady, this card will be pretty lit. Let's make some money. I agree. I think the card's going to deliver. I really do think it will. Let's see here. I got the Baze couple and Yanez in a parlay. Could be decent money there. Feel the fight is off. Appreciate the donation. Dev, the dude, what's up? Great card, great picks. Go check my picks on Instagram. Drop your Instagram in there. I'll throw it up. But yeah, shout out to Dev for the donation. Kind of want to fade Tai Tuivasa against Harry Hunsucker. Yeah, we'll get into that really quick. What's up, Sean? How you doing? All right, so we'll get into the next fight. And this is probably my fight of the night personally because I have a lot of money invested in this fight. And it's going to be Tai Tuivasa versus the one and only Harry Hunsucker. I think this fight is going to be very fun for as long as it lasts, and I really don't see it lasting long. So I'll kind of talk about the two bets I have in this fight. The first bet I have is going to be the under 1.5 rounds. I got it at minus 170. I have 2 units on it. And what I was doing was I was refreshing my bookie like for 24 hours straight, waiting for this under. And somehow I missed the opener at minus 110 for some reason. I missed it. I saw it at minus 150. I went to bet it. It went to minus 170. So I pulled the trigger at minus 170. I don't know what it is now, but I do think this fight ends inside the first round. I think it ends inside the first couple minutes. I would be absolutely shocked if this fight went to decision. And I'd be kind of shocked if it went to the second round as well. So Harry Hunsucker, he's going to go after it, especially coming in on 3 days short notice. The dude has never seen the second round. He's never even seen the 4-minute mark or the 1 minute mark of the first round. He's never been 4 minutes in a fight. And, you know, a lot of people are kind of hating on Tai Tuivasa. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. He was able to, you know, get his a win last fight, but he goes after it. And he has nice calf kicks. If he can push, you know, Hunsucker against the cage, I think he has nice elbows, great power. And I think that if Hunsucker does not get this win in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, I think Tai Tuivasa is going to, you know, easily, you know, get him out of there. Hunsucker is somebody that could have some of the worst cardio I've ever seen in my life. Worse than Rodolfo Vieira. I mean, this is somebody that gets tired on the walk out to the cage. I've seen him gas out in like the 2 minute mark of the first round. I mean, this guy gets tired. If he cannot get you down, he expends all his energy and he just doesn't have a gas tank. So, and then you factor in the 3 days notice. I'm curious to see how his gas tank looks on 3 days notice. And this is somebody that got knocked out by Jared Vandera, finished him. Dontel Mays finished him. He's been knocked out 3 times. Never seen the second round. I really like the under. And I really like Tai Tuivasa. I think Tai Tuivasa's fought the much better level of competition. I think he's the more durable fighter by a decent margin. Tai Tuivasa has a chin on him. And how do you beat Tai Tuivasa? You take him down. He doesn't have a ground game. Hunsucker has some takedowns on the regional scene, but against very, 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 very low-level guys. And the guys are typically gassed out when he is subbing them. So I think Tuivasa will be fine. Tuivasa is, minus 450. And I do have Tai Tuivasa in a parlay with somebody next card, and that somebody is Vicente Luque. So, yeah, I like Tuivasa as a parlay piece. I know it's hard to be confident in a heavyweight fight, but this is really a fight that Tuivasa should win. And the parlay I have is Tuivasa with Luque minus 123. I have 1.5 units on it. I think both of them can win. Not going to talk about the Luque fight too much. Not much to say, but basically Woodley, no volume. Woodley, you know, getting up there in age 38, 39 years old. Woodley's not been looking good. And outside of Woodley knocking out Luque, which I think is going to be extremely hard to do, I think that Luque is going to easily cruise to a decision or even knock out Luque. So I like that parlay. I like Tuivasa. And I also took, if you guys have the FanDuel Sportsbook, I recommend taking the Tai Tuivasa to win by around 1 KO. I threw that in the Discord today. It was sitting at plus 175 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I think it's like plus 135 now, but on other books, it's like minus 130. So if you guys have FanDuel Sportsbook, go check that out. Last week, I threw out the Span Serkinov fight does not start round 2. It was plus 140 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So really got to take advantage of these lines. They're not official plays because people get mad about when I when I make them official plays. So I just kind of do it on the side, but you really got to take advantage of these lines. It's week after week where these bookies are making mistakes. So go check out the first round KO prop. And if you're on the Hunsucker side, first round submission plus 1,700 plus 1,800. I think if he wins, it's probably a first round submission somehow. So if you're on Hunsucker, first round submission plus 1,700 plus 1,800. But ultimately, I'm going to have a ton of Tuivasa on DraftKings. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win in the first round. But I will have some Hunsucker as well because it's heavyweight. And if he does win, it's going to be in the first minute and a half. So, but overall, really, really looking forward to this fight. My main event because I have a ton of money on it. Let's see what we got in the chat. Anybody taking the Hunsucker? Heavyweights, anything can happen, but still see a big level difference. Yeah, huge difference. Nick, 2 things, bro. Thank you. Appreciate what you do and how you break down the fights. Number 2, everybody hit that like button. I agree. Appreciate that, Nick, a ton. I got fight doesn't start round 2. Yeah, good line there. Good line. If I have access to that line, I'll probably be with you on that one. Tuivasa wasn't that impressive against the 7-footer made out of glass, easy to knock out. Still like Tuivasa here. Yeah, I remember that clearly because I had a bet on Tuivasa round 1. It was a buzzer beater. That was probably the most excited I've ever been after cashing a bet. Hunsucker throws so recklessly. Yes, he does. And wild, he might even knock himself. Yeah, he might even knock himself out by mistake. Ty is a lock. Yeah, he could. Ty KO, way more technical. I like it. Harry lost first round to Jared, who got beat so bad last night as he did, and Hunsucker gets finished in the first. And Ty is a world-class striker, not top tier, but yeah, I get what you mean. I think he's a good striker there. So you're so right. For round 1 prop is the play. Yeah, if this fight sees the second round, I really don't think that Hunsucker will be able to get off the stool, and I'm being dead serious. His cardio is so bad, and then he's coming on short notice as well. So that's why I kind of like the under 1.5 a little bit better than the fight doesn't start round 2, because I really don't see him getting off the stool after round 1. Ty is my favorite heavyweight. Interesting. A lot of people hate on the guy. A lot of people don't like him. Sweating before he gets in the gate. Yeah, for sure. I cashed on a bet with Ty Tuivasa 1 second left. I was with you there. That was crazy. I'll bet Ty Tuivasa round 1 again. Hopefully he gets it done earlier this time. Yeah, I mean, talking about the DraftKings 60-second bonus, this is something that could be on that 60-second bonus for sure. Yeah, if you want to hedge it, Hunsucker by sub round 1 plus 1,700, go for it. Still taking Tuivasa. Yes, he did. Let's see here. I see you've been hitting up that FanDuel up a lot more lately since I've been telling you about this. Yeah, I've been on there. It seems like week after week there's a line that's off on FanDuel. Like last week it was the Span Serkinov does not start round 2. This week it was a Ty Tuivasa KO round 1, and got to take advantage of it. Woodley's no bum, just in a rough patch. He's not done. I think he's almost done, man. Hunsucker round 1 or inside the distance might be worth a sprinkle. Ty is who Hunsucker wants to be. Hunsucker entire resume is against fighters with losing records. He has no chance. Yeah, hopefully you're right, man. I mean, have a lot of money invested in Ty, and if Ty Tuivasa wins and he wins in the first round, it's going to be a very, very good night. So I hate having a lot of the night riding on Ty Tuivasa, but this is something I've been, as soon as this fight got announced, I was refreshing my bookie, like get these lines out. And some books still don't have lines out on this fight. But I like the under. I like the fight doesn't go to decision as a parlay. I'm very invested in this heavyweight fight. Are you betting the fight? What's up, God, by the way? Nice to see you again. Are you betting the fight doesn't go to decision? Probably throw it in a like a Hail Mary parlay. I think it's safe as can be, honestly. Like, I really find it hard to see Hunsucker, unless Ty Tuivasa really just wants to stay on the outside, and unless Hunsucker really changes up his whole style that he's been fighting with his whole career, really hard to see it going to decision. Let's see here. Woodley's done. Wasting money on Hunsucker could be. Yes, sir. I agree. Okay, so we'll get into the co-main event. So this is going to close out my parlay with Montel Jackson. So I have Gregor Gillespie parlayed with Montel Jackson minus 139. I really like that line. 2 units on it. And a parlay I really like. 2 of my most confident picks. It was between Gillespie and Ty Tuivasa for my second most confident. But, I mean, it opened up minus 170 for Gillespie. I think I was able to parlay him at minus 230. I was late on the line. I wasn't expecting the line to get that wide. I mean, there's a lot of hype on Riddell. Gillespie's coming off a very brutal knockout. So I kind of expected a lot more people to be on the Riddell side, but once you get into the tape and everything, it's really hard to do that. Gillespie, fantastic wrestler, averaging 7 takedowns per 50 minutes, great grappler. And what has Riddell really struggled with so far in the UFC in his career is the takedown defense. He's been taken down 14 times in the UFC, was taken down like 8 or 9 times by Mustafayev. He was taken down like 3 times by Jamie Malarkey. He was taken down like 3 times by Alex De Silva. De Silva was able to win that first round on him. And it's just not a good look. I mean, something that Gillespie is going to have that Alex De Silva did not have is cardio. He's going to have cardio for 3 rounds. I think he's going to get takedowns. I think he's going to get a lot of them. And outside of Riddell knocking out Gillespie, which it's possible, everybody is live for a knockout. It's MMA, but Riddell does not have a knockout so far in the UFC. And I think Gillespie's going to come in here, get this fight down the mat, rinse and repeat, takedowns, control time. I think he's going to win a clear decision or even find a submission. I mean, Riddell has been submitted before, and Gillespie does have a lot of submissions on his record. So I think a submission's live. But ultimately, I do like him as a parlay piece. I got him at minus 130. I still think the minus 245 that he's at now is, still decent value. I kind of thought he would close around the minus 300 mark when it was all said and done. But there is some hype on Riddell. People really like this guy, but this is just such an awful stylistic matchup. I mean, you really can't ask for a more awful stylistic matchup here. Kind of reminds me of the Max Griffin Song fight where all Griffin has to do is take down Song. Kind of like that, but Riddell, I guess he's live for a knockout, but then again, I just don't think it's all that likely. So give me Gillespie. Very confident, and I will say Gillespie will be my highest own on DraftKings. New DraftKings scoring system favors a guy like Gillespie a ton. Wrestling, takedowns, control time. So give me Gillespie on DraftKings and have like 70% Gillespie. And I really hopefully he gets it done. Hopefully he gets it done. I was kind of looking at Gillespie inside the distance, but I do have enough action on this card. I don't really want to get too crazy there, but I think he can win by decision as well. So no props for me, but I do like Gillespie as a parlay piece. Let's see here. Can't trust a guy more known for his post-fight ritual than his fight skills. That could be true. Baze KO'd Hunsucker, Ty easy. Yeah, he did KO Hunsucker after Hunsucker gassed out in like the 3-minute mark, something like that. Ige KO was plus 650. Yeah, I do remember that actually. I do remember that it was something crazy like that. I didn't bet it myself, but I know some people that did. Ty got his balls removed. Apparently, he said it on the Raw. What? Hopefully that's not true. I mean, if it helps him, go for it. I mean, if it helps him, that's fine. Let's see here. Fight doesn't go to decision. Kind of. I mean, if Riddell's going to win, it's going to be by knockout. I really struggle to see Riddell winning by decision. And I think Gillespie is live for the finish there. Fight doesn't go to decision is what, minus 145. I don't hate it, I guess. Yep, no eye contact by Gillespie at the stare down, but we talked about in the Discord, but I guess they're talking about Gillespie typically does do that at weigh-ins, so didn't look into it that much, but yeah. Gillespie is a really great fighter. Just this one unfortunate loss, that's true, but such a highlight loss. He comes back better, and I believe he should win this one. I'm with you there. I'm heavily exposed to Gillespie. Took me a while, but I'm sold on Gregor. It's stylistic matchup. Nightmare, yep. For Brad, I have Gregor minus 250 for 3 units. Gregor by decision plus 200, and the over plus 100. Don't hate it. Brad Riddell doesn't have that much KO power. I got Gregor by sub. Strong Island, Gregor for 150 points on DraftKings and domination. Book it. Yeah, I think the 150 is very live if he does get. I think he can get 10 plus takedowns, honestly. Yep, 7 takedowns per 50 minutes. Bare knuckle fighting tonight. I think the under is interesting. Not going to bet it myself. Minus 145. Don't love the price there. Bounce back spot. I agree. Gillespie scores 100 plus on DraftKings minus the Lee fight. High is 152. He will be on the optimal lineup. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Unless he really drops the ball and loses. Hard to see him not on the optimal lineup. When was Gillespie minus 130? I saw him at minus 250. I believe I said minus 230. He's never at minus 130. The lowest I think he was at was like minus 160, something like that. What we got here? Brad is very hard to finish. Roman Delizzy looked pretty good in my opinion. Cash out, boys. If Ty got no balls, I got no money. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Pretty groundbreaking story. I think I would have probably heard about it on Twitter, but I don't know if it helps him, that's fine. If not, it's not good. Weird. Like really? I don't know. I have to look into that after this podcast, but we'll get into the main event. The moment everybody has been tired of all the low blow. Hey, that could be it. We've seen it a lot as of late. The low blows, the eye pokes could be an interesting strategy there by Tuivasa, thinking ahead of the game. Anywho, yeah, the main event: Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson. I'm kind of struggling with this one. I mean, there's a lot of people taking the shot on Brunson. A lot of very sharp people that I listen to and respect, and they're taking the shot on Brunson, and I absolutely see it. I mean, stylistically, this is a fight that Brunson should win. Everything leads to Brunson has a very good chance of winning. Everything leads to this line is probably off. You get into the tape, and there's red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag on Kevin Holland. I mean, the guy gets taken down, the guy gets controlled. The guy slows down as the fight goes on. I've really questioned his fight IQ at sometimes, but I don't know. I just see Kevin Holland knocking him out. I mean, Brunson's been knocked out 5 times, and going through the record and the career of Brunson, yeah, I think to win this fight, he's going to need to get multiple takedowns. I think the most takedowns he has in a fight, I could be wrong, but I think it's like 4 or 5. I think if he's going to win this fight, he's going to need to get more than that. And also, the top control of Brunson's not that great. I mean, he was really struggling to hold down a guy like Elias Theodorou. And Holland's really hard to hold down. We saw how dangerous Holland is off his back. A lot of power off his back. Obviously, was able to knock out Jacare off his back. He throws up submissions. So I don't know if Brunson's going to be able to implement a game plan of going wrestling heavy for a full 25 minutes. I think that's his path to victory, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. Kind of see Holland catching him at some point. The chin of Brunson's very suspect. He's getting up there in age, 37, 38 years old. I like Holland here. I just don't like the price. I mean, I honestly think this line's off. You could honestly make a case for Brunson stylistically to be the favorite, but ultimately I do see Kevin Holland knocking him out at some point. But it's a close fight. I mean, I lean with Holland. On DraftKings, I'm going 100% on this fight. It's priced at 8,400, 7,800. I'm going to probably lean a little bit on Holland's side, but Brunson, if he wins, it's going to score a lot. I mean, if he wins, it means he's getting takedowns, he's getting control time. Another aspect of the fight and kind of why I do like Holland is the durability between the two. There's a big discrepancy in the durability. Holland has a chin of steel, impossible nearly to knock this guy out. On the opposite side, Brunson is a little bit on the chinny side. So Brunson's obviously not going to submit Holland. Brunson's not going to knock out Holland, at least on the feet. Maybe if Holland does, kind of gas out towards the end of the fight, maybe he can get him out of there. But I think if Brunson wins, it's probably going to be by decision or maybe a 4-5 type situation. But if Holland wins, I think it will be early. So I don't know. I don't have a bet on this main event. I know it sucks not having a bet on the main event. Maybe I was looking at the Holland by KO plus 150. I don't think that's bad. I think that's his path to victory. Holland won round 1 KO is not a bad look, I guess, but I'm probably going to pass here. If you're on the Brunson side, I'd probably play the decision prop plus 355. I'd probably play the round 4 and round 5 prop, which are crazy odds. I think the round 5 is like plus 2,100. Round 4, I think, is like plus 1,800. I do not see Brunson finishing early whatsoever, but I'm curious to see the cardio of both guys once it does get extended. Both guys have slowed down in the past, and it sounds like Holland's been taking this camp a lot more serious. He said he kind of limited the smoking and all that. He said he was, going harder, going longer, so I do think that's going to help him here. But I don't know. I lean with Holland. I do think he knocks him out, but I'm not overly confident in this one. Honestly, it's going to be a good fight though. I'm really curious to see if Holland can pass this test of Derek Brunson. All right, what do we have in the chat here? Laughing faces. That ball story. Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. If somebody can fact check that, that'd be awesome. Can you bet on bare knuckle? I'm sure you can. Don't know if my book has it though. Ty had a ruptured testicle from one of his earlier. Oh, that sucks. Inside the distance parlay is the best bet for this one. I don't know if Brunson wins. I kind of can see a decision from him though. That's the only thing. Brunson pushes him against the cage and just holds him. Best of luck to all. Yeah, it's possible. Feels like that awkward stumble forward move Brunson tries, and every fight is met with a clean left at some point. Yes, he is very hittable, and Holland does pack some power. Holland round 1 KO plus 400. Holland round 2 KO plus 800. I think those are likely if he wins. Holland seems like he could be special. Brunson is just another guy, and although he's good with camp, he's with a good camp and tries to keep him disciplined. At some point in this fight, he will get frustrated and get KO'd. Yeah, the crap talking of Holland could frustrate Derek Brunson here. I think he was talking crap to Jacare off his back. We all saw it on Twitter and stuff. I think it kind of got Jacare off his game, kind of let up a little bit, and Holland was able to hit him with that shot. Sweet main event, 2 all action fighters. I agree. Holland has a good triangle for sure. Yes, he does. There's so much leverage on Brunson. Also, I'm not sure how Holland's gas tank in later rounds. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm curious to see how Holland's gas tank looks in later rounds for sure. And Derek is the ultimate gatekeeper. Yes, he is. Leaning towards the gatekeeper. Yeah, if I don't know. It's I think Holland wins, but I will say the value is probably on Brunson, honestly. I like Holland, but Brunson handed me one of my biggest losses last year against Baze, and yep, got me too. Holland by KO while in a choke. Could happen. Holland's clear advantage in this fight is the fact that he has an iron chin. Yeah, I agree. And Brunson has been touched before. Derek has been knocked down on over 1% of his significant strikes against. Yeah, the chin is it's iffy. It's iffy for sure. Brunson got me too. Yeah, he got a lot of people. Oh, really? Okay. Might have to look into that after I get out of here. Holland versus Brunson fight doesn't go to decision, which is minus 195. That's not awful. But maybe I kind of hedge that with Brunson by decision, honestly. Who has bigger DraftKings potential, Tai Tuivasa or Gillespie? I'd say Gillespie does, but both do. I mean, if Tai Tuivasa wins, it's probably a first-round knockout, maybe a 60-second knockout. So there's something to think about there. But ultimately, I have a ton of both. I think I'm going to go 55 Holland, 45 Brunson. Somewhere around there, but I do know I won 100% of this fight. I do think it scores well. Last time I saw Kevin go 3, we seen him losing the third, so he doesn't have a gas tank. Yeah, he has to slow down in the past. Holland will gas if he hangs on. And that's why I kind of look at the Brunson 4 and 5 prop, which is, crazy odds, just in case Holland does kind of gas out. No search results on Twitter for Tai Tuivasa's balls or Tai Tuivasa testicles. There you go. Yep, people are kind of forgetting about that Stewart fight. It was scary. A lot of people thought that Holland might have lost that fight too. Trying to predict Brunson versus Holland is a waste of time. Guys always doing the unexpected. Yeah, I think it is hard to predict. Let's see here. Brunson submission. Goodness. Brunson submission is plus 1175. I don't think it happens, but it could. Anything can happen. What's up, Fads? How you doing? Bit late today. All good. Round 3 start minus 145. Not a bad look. Not a bad look. Shabazian was a bum. I wouldn't say he's a bum. Holland is nowhere near that bad. Goodness. Not a big Shabazian guy. Dude was only ever round 1 once. Out of round 1 once. Let's see here. Brunson is with a better. Yes, he is with a good camp. Brad all day. Yeah, he looked fine. He looked fine on the scales. Sorry, Brady, just got here. Can't see you picked in the Bruno and JP fight. Yeah, I got you. I got Silva winning. I got Silva winning there. All right, so we'll quickly go over my bets. And then, of course, you can check out the betting breakdown tomorrow. I don't think I'll add anything. I mean, I might Holland round 1 KO, Holland round 2 KO. Brunson sprinkles in 4 and 5 are interesting, but I don't know if I want to really do that. I was looking at Delizzy as a play. Delizzy sub plus 400. I might sprinkle that, but ultimately I think it's going to be these 7 main plays for me. So the plays I have Max Griffin minus 177, 2 units on it. Bruno Silva plus 150, 1 unit on it. Also in that Silva fight, have JP Baze versus Bruno Silva fight. Doesn't go to decision. Plus 125, 1 unit on it. Montel Jackson parlayed with Gregor Gillespie minus 139, 2 units on it. A little sprinkle on the Leonardo Santos by TKO KO plus 700, 0.25 units on it. And then Tai Tuivasa parlayed with Vicente Luque next week, minus 123, 1.5 units on it. And then the Tai Tuivasa Harry Hunsucker under 1.5 rounds, minus 170, 2 units on it. And if I can get I'm going to be looking at Delizzy. I'm going to be looking at maybe round 2 does not start for Tuivasa Hunsucker. It's all up to the line. I mean, some of these lines I'm seeing for this fight doesn't start round 2. The unders at this point are getting pretty crazy. So it might just be those 7, but there are some other things I'm looking at. So if so, I'll post it on Twitter and Instagram and all that, and then they will be included in the betting breakdown as well. Delizzy's looking fantastic. Yes, he is. Has Brunson proved he has a gas tank? I mean, the guy slows down himself, so that's why I'm curious to see who has the better gas tank down the stretch. I have Delizzy. Tuivasa's harrowing secret on YouTube. That Delizzy sub is a solid spot once again. Yeah, plus 400. I'm going to be taking a very good look at that. Maybe put like a, 0.25 units on it. How Montel Jackson opened up at minus 120, minus 130 to finish is so fishy to me, bro. Yeah, so he opened up around minus 120 to finish, and now he is currently like minus 180, minus 190 to finish. Money's been piling on it. Woodley has no balls. Personally, Delizzy straight is still crazy value. I really don't get it. Yeah, kind of with you there. I think he does win. I think you're right. I think there's some value. It's just kind of hard to trust a guy. Is Yanez parlay material? I don't know. I mean, I think he wins. I feel kind of iffy about it. I think the line's off just a little bit, but I think he's a decent parlay piece. I wouldn't do it personally though. Jesse Schrader KO. I sure hope not, but it is MMA. We've seen crazier things happen. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. We've been about an hour and 11 minutes. I do want to shout out the sponsor once again, Pub Sports Radio. Go head over there to Pub Sports Radio Live. Going to be going live at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow for the fights, live commentary, live betting, and hang out with the guys. Always a very fun time. Please leave this video a like. Always does help out a lot. Subscribe if you have not yet. Tune into the betting breakdown video that's going to be on Saturday. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. If you guys want to chat it up, my DMs are always open. Pretty good at getting back to you guys. So with that said, good luck. I think it's going to be a fun card. Hopefully make some money. I'm feeling pretty good about my bets. Feeling pretty good about the picks as well. So hopefully it's a good card. Good luck to you all. And talk to you guys very soon for UFC 260. I'm going to try to get that out hopefully early Tuesday, maybe late mid-afternoon on Monday. I'm going to start getting that research done very soon. I want to get that early and a big card next week. So thanks you guys for hanging out in the chat. Always appreciated. I pushed leave studio. Okay, see you guys. I pushed the wrong button. See you guys.